Hello everyone, it is I, PPL. Today is a very special day because the Glasgow Gliscorers enter a new league, which you probably know already if you follow the PPL channel and have seen yesterday's stream. But Glasgow Gliscorers have been invited to take part in the subdivision of PPL, which is called PPL Bolt and Flare, which are two separate divisions. One is more American and one is more European, even though they're not really set in stone because the Americans have an Australian and we have Kiluaboom. But yeah, we are in the Bolt division. So a bit of info about the league before we start this draft analysis. So the format is very similar to the former PPL season. So you choose between 2 and 3 Terra captains with 3 possible Terra types, one of which has to be a stab type, while the other 2 are to your discretion. Now, the way the Terra pool was handled was a bit different. Instead of you having a budget to choose your Terra captains from the main board, there's a separate Terra board with different pricings depending on what's a better Terra option, and it was way lower tier than it was in PDD and in last season PPL. The rest is basically the same rules, no oversight hopefully, so we don't have a Mephisto situation. I don't think I have anything left to say, and I think we can just get to the draft recap. So, the Glasgow Gliscorers were not in the middle this time. We were number 14, which means we were absolutely dead last, which is great because first of all, we get the wheel pick. So how a snake draft works, if you're not familiar with how Pokemon draft leagues usually work, which I assume you are, is you go from top to bottom on round 1 and then from bottom to top round 2 and repeat. So basically the wheel pick, the last position gets basically the worst choice and the best choice every couple of rounds. So that's cool, and that means we can grab a bit more synergy rather than having to wait for a whole round to pass between one pick and the other. We can pick 2 months together that work well together, which I think is great. And the second reason why I loved being last position is there were not a ton of high tiers. The pool was cut a bit. There were not a ton of very high tiers, so we were justified in picking as our first Pokemon my baby Gliscor. Our bestie is back in the game. I just could not pick them and risk them going. So I had to get my turn 1 Gliscor and prove to everybody that my baby is still one of the best Pokemon out there. He's been heavily underestimated, in my opinion. It did lose Roost and Defog, so it lost some utility, but gained some other in Spikes and T-Spikes, which make him one of the best hazard setters in the game. Super bulky as always, can run either physical defensives for sets for maximum defense or specially defensive sets to complement its already great physical defense. Even without investment, it can take a lot of hits that you wouldn't expect it to. It can get recovery with Protect and Poison Heal, which is not super reliable because people can exploit it by predicting your Protect and setting up in front of you, but it's still good to have as an option. Plus, it's one of the monsters that retain Knockoff and Toxic, which make it very good. It has U-turn, most importantly, because we're not going to make the same mistakes that we made in PDD. We are going to draft mons with pivoting moves. And he got some new additions to his offensive toolkit. Namely, we have Crabhammer, which is not great, but it gives us a way to hit things that you maybe normally wouldn't be able to. So it's nice. It's a high base power move, so we love those. Dual Wing Beat, which is awesome because it gives us a stab move that's not acrobatics, so we don't have to run flank acrobatics to be able to do a lot of damage. Even though it's a fun set, it's not the best set, so being able to just run offensive Gliscor and hit from the start with a good damaging move is going to be great. And the most exciting addition, in my opinion, is Scale Shot. Because Scale Shot allows you to basically run double dance without the need of agility. And yeah, being able to do damage, raise your speed, and possibly set up Gliscor for a sweep is amazing in my opinion. I love the addition of Scale Shot, and I'm most certainly gonna bring it to some games. I truly hope I can do my baby justice, because it is my favorite mon by far. It's our mascot, and honestly, I have a lot of faith in this guy. Now, as I mentioned, I was the wheel pick, so I had a free choice on who to pair with Gliscor. I would have picked Shiver Rapid, but our good friend Kiluaboom decided to snipe it from us just before our turn. We were like, he was 13 and I was 14, so he got it turn 1 right before our turn, which, I mean, I don't mind. It would have been good because it covers for Gliscor's ice weakness, giving us a resist. So, unfortunately for me, there was another mon that fit this criteria of a fast offensive mon that resists ice. And that mon is one I despise. But I wouldn't have picked it, but I was convinced by Killua and KJ, so I got Infernape. Now, people are gonna have conflicting opinions about this, but I personally hate Infernape. Not necessarily competitively, I hate how it looks. Look, it's so dumb. He's got his head on fire. Put it out or something. Jesus Christ. But on the competitive side, I admit I do enjoy this guy because it's quite fast, it's quite strong, it's very versatile. It does struggle from Inamora's same issue of being under 110 speed with its 108, but at least it's got U-turn, so it can pivot around, and it's got a great deal of offensive options. It has 104 in both attack and special attack, meaning you have the choice of going either physical, special, or mixed even. It's got good stab options on both sides, with moves like Focus Blast, Aura Sphere, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Close Combat, Flare Blitz, Drain Punch, Fire Punch, even Raging Fury, the ability Iron Fist to boost its punches. It has great coverage in the elemental punches again, Earthquake, Grass Knot, Stone Edge, Gunk Shot. It received a few additions to its move pool in Knockoff, priority on both sides with Mach Punch and Vacuum Wave, and it also has some utility moves in Stealth Rock and Slack Off for recovery, for example. Yeah, Infernape is a good mon, I just hate it, but it can definitely be a great threat. Now, after everyone, and I mean everyone, had made their round 2 and 3 picks, the draft came back to us, and I wanted a Water Resist to cover my team's main weakness at the moment. And I was surprised to see this mon still on the board, considering how great of both an offensive and defensive mon she can be. But I definitely cannot complain, because on round 3 we got Ogerpon Wellspring, or Waterpon as I call her. And I think this mon has been way underestimated, and not just this form, all of her forms, but specifically this one has the ability to Water Absorb, which now gives us an immunity to water, which is great. And unlike other grass types, which would be a water resist, this one is not weak to ice, so it pairs well with Gliscor as well. And it's not even relegated to a passive or a defensive role, because yeah, she has the bulk, but she also have a great stat spread with 120 attack and 110 speed, and the boost from the mask, which is a 20% boost to all of her attacking moves. She has a wide enough move pool that allow her to cover for most of what she needs. She has strong stabs and power whip, horn leech for the grass type, and ivy cudgel for the water type, which is an amazing move. It's her signature move that changes type depending on the mask, which makes it water on this one. It has 100 BP and increased crit chance, so it's basically a water type, 100% accurate stone edge, which is awesome. And it's a physical water type move, which isn't really common, so it's great to see. As coverage, she has moves like Superpower, Low Kick, Play Rough, Stomping Tantrum, Knockoff, as well as more defensive utility moves in Spikes, Leech Seed, Encore, Taunt. She also has U-Turn. The one downside of this form is that she can't use items because she has to hold on to the mask, which is unfortunate, but I don't think that's really a problem because with the 20% boost to all attacking moves she gets from the mask, it's basically a weaker life orb that doesn't do recoil, so it's a fair trade. And yeah, I don't think the not being able to hold an item thing is gonna hold her back a lot. I'm so glad I get to try this out. I love this mon. She's so cute. Look at her. Now, as you know, if you're familiar with the Gen 9 draft scene, we needed a defogger, because if you don't get a defogger or rapid spin user early on in the draft, you're not gonna get one. You're gonna be stuck with something like Colossal or thing, which I have first-hand experience with, and I don't recommend it. So yeah, we wanted a defogger. The great ones like Corviknight, which I wanted, Iron Treads, Great Tusk, and the likes of those were all already picked, as you might expect. But an amazing defogger and an amazing mon in its own right was still available, and it's one of my favorites, not only as a defogger but as a mon in general, and that one is Scizor. I mean, Scizor needs no introduction. It's an amazing offensive mon with good physical defense, as well as a great typing in Bug and Steel, which often gets underestimated by people seeing its 4 times weakness to fire, but they don't realize that that's its only weakness. So you're gonna be hit for neutral or resisting attacks most of the time. Now, Scizor is another one of the mons that lost Roost this gen, but once again, I don't think this nerf makes it a bad Pokemon at all, because it still has its amazing Technician Bullet Punch, which I think that alone makes it worth drafting. It has access to Defog, which is the most important part for us, and it got the addition of Close Combat to its move pool this generation, which allows it to beat the Steel types that normally wall its stabs. And it also got Dual Wing Beat back with the DLC, which is not super impactful, but it could be useful. I used to like teching Dual Wing Beat on Scizor. Some other notable moves it has are a Stab U-Turn, Knockoff, Swords Dance, and Trailblaze, which is boosted by Technician and allows it to boost its speed, and a number of sets it can run, from AV to Leftovers Defensive to Choice Band. I think Scizor makes for an amazing 4th addition to the team. And can I just say, I love how the team is shaping out. Like, even just aesthetically, I like these mons, except the one up there, but it fits. It fits. Although, while the team looks good, there is a glaring weakness to flying moves, as well as special moves in general to an extent, even though Gliscor can kind of take them, or it can definitely take them with a more special defensive set, but it doesn't want to be relegated to that. And Ogerpon has some bulk, but it's not an extremely bulky mon. So I wanted a mon that could resist flying moves and give us a bit of a special wall, and I think I got just what I needed with my next pick, which was Tyranitar. Let's get it out of the way. Yes, T-Tar has seen better days. The current meta is quite hostile to it, with things like Great Tusk, Iron Treads, Iron Valiant, and the likes running around. We don't have Iron Valiant in the league, but I'm just saying in general. But the good thing is that in draft, there's only one of each of those. And besides, it's still T-Tar. It's not a mon to be underestimated. Again, it has a massive attack stat, great bulk, its ability to Sandstream boosting its special defense even further. And it got a new, very, very important addition to its kit with the DLC. it got Knockoff, which is a much needed spammable dark move to boost its viability. I think, in my humble opinion, Titar is one of the most versatile, non-versatile looking Pokemon. So let me explain. You look at it and you see a very, very strong physical attacker, a physical breaker, possibly a sweeper, but you have to look at it from different perspectives. I've used a plethora of different Tyranitar sets since I started playing Pokemon, all of which were great in their own right. From the more common physical DD or banded Titar, or the little more niche Scarf variants, to the absolute special wall that is Max Spadef AV Titar with Sandstream. It just doesn't go down to even 4 times super effective hits, or defensive / utility sets with T-Wave, Rocks, even Rock Tomb, Dragon Tail, or the very defensive offensive Curse or Iron Defense sets with Body Press, to even special sets making use of its great special coverage, which can also be slotted on a mixed set or a AV set. And honestly, I could go on. There's so much stuff that Titar can do. I think it's very hard to prep for exactly for that reason. If you're against a person that doesn't tunnel vision in the physical sweeper aspect of Titar. And I'm excited to put this old friend of ours to work, especially with the next teammate I drafted for it, which is Houndstone, the best boy. Now, you're probably thinking, is Last Respects allowed? No. Last Respects is not allowed, which is an absolutely broken move and should never be allowed. So why pick Houndstone? It's trash without Last Respects, right? Or it's not trash, but this early on, fluffy sets are good, but they're not great. But what you'd be missing is that with the DLC, Houndstone just received Poltergeist. 110 base power physical ghost move is just what our dog needed to be brought back into the spotlight. Sand Rush allows it to take advantage of Titar's sand, become a super fast threat without the need to run a Choice Scarf, which means it can hold a band to further boost its attack power, really punch holes into the opposing team, to the point that it might even force some Pokemon to not run an item just to be immune to Poltergeist, which is something we are gonna have to be careful about and definitely consider if we want to go for a Houndstone sweep. But yeah, it's definitely... Poltergeist definitely helps it a ton. Besides, as I mentioned, it doesn't have to be a Sand Sweeper, because its second ability, Fluffy, is also a great one, making a very good defensive mon with moves such as Will-O-Wisp, Nightshade, Curse, Body Press, Yawn, Roar, Hex, or even Destiny Bond. And it has Rest if it needs to keep healthy. It can run Leftovers, Resist Berries like Colbur, or Rocky Helmet, to be honest, because you're gonna be taking half damage from contact moves, so might as well punish them further. The Fluffy set is my preferred way to run Houndstone, personally, but that's just because I haven't been able to play with a strong physical ghost move yet, since Last Respect was banned right away. I'm super excited to see what this thing can do. I am expecting a lot of work from it. With Houndstone, we have officially passed the middle of our draft, which means it's time to start patching up the holes in our team. So, firstly, you look at the team, what is missing? A Terra Captain. There were a bunch of good options on the board, which weren't really in line with the other low tiers. Some were not on the same level, let's say. And I wanted one that specifically gave me a strong special attacker, since outside of Infernape, we are still very much lacking in that regard. Every single one of our mons is mainly physical. Jolteon would have been perfect, giving us the speed as well, but once again, Killua took it. So I picked a different, stronger on the special side evolution, which is Espeon. So I have mixed opinions about this Pokemon, to be honest, but I think on our team it can definitely do work. It has decent coverage with Dazzling Gleam, Psychic or Psyshock, Shadow Ball, Grass Knot, and Power Gem, or even a fun option that Titar opens up for us, Rock Weather Ball. And it's also aided in the coverage regard by its Terra types I picked, which are Psychic, mandatory, Fairy, and Fighting. These two types both allow us to resist dark attacks, as well as hit them back. Fighting also gives us a way to break steel types, which otherwise really wall Espeon since, I don't know, did it have Mystical Fire? If it had it, it lost it. But anyway, it doesn't really have a way to break steel types without Terra Blast Fighting, so that's great for it. Its ability Magic Bounce is also really good, especially in a metagame where Defoggers and Rapid Spinners are scarce. Having another way to prevent hazards from going up is always appreciated. It can run Calm Mind sets or Specs Scarf sets, as well as some more niche sets which I won't reveal just in case I get the chance to bring them to some games. Gotta keep some secrets. I already revealed the Scale Shot Gliscor, so yeah, you get one, I keep the other. Personally, I still think Umbreon is the superior evolution, but unfortunately Umbreon was not allowed to Terra, which is insane to me. The fact that Umbreon and Vaporeon were not allowed, but Jolteon was. But anyway, hopefully Espeon can give us a good show this season, and maybe climb up the ranks of my favorite evolutions a bit. Now, another important role that was missing on the team was a grounded poison to be able to absorb toxic spikes, which are otherwise looking pretty scary for us. And with Dragalge, we not only grab that, but also a Dragon type, which is not weak to Fairy type attacks. Honestly, Dragalge is probably one of my favorite mons. I absolutely love it. Along with Titar, we now have two of what, in my opinion, are some of the best AV abusers in the game. It's super bulky, especially already, and it can dish out massive damage even from its relatively low special attacking stat, thanks to adaptability, boosting the power of its Dracos and Sludge Bombs, with good enough coverage in Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, and its new addition of Scald, which is awesome for it. It also has incredibly useful tools in Toxic, T-Spikes, Haze, and Acid Armor for fun sets. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's another mon with a pivoting move, Flip Turn. Flip Turn is awesome for this thing because it gives us a slow Flip Turner, allowing us to most of the time get a free switch into some of our other team members, or not a free switch because we take a hit, but we don't take a hit on the more important team member. I love Dragalge. I'm super happy I got it. I'm just ecstatic it's on my team. Now we need to fix our speed tiers. We need a mon that's faster than 110, which we don't have currently. We have two 110 base speed mons, which are Ogerpon and Espeon, but we don't have one that's higher than that, and we definitely need one. Now, I don't like stacking types usually, but our only water type is Waterpon, which does benefit from its grass typing in some ways, and it also hurts it in some other ways. So I felt like it couldn't hurt to grab another one, a more offensive one on the special side, and a very, very fast one, which is gonna be Intellion. Unlike Waterpon, Intellion can run items, so it can outspeed a lot of things with a Choice Scarf, or deal tons of damage with Specs, Hydros, or Ice Beams, while pivoting around with fast U-turns or flip turns. Plus, it's also not limited to this role, being a very fast screen setter, another haze user if we need to, and it also has physical options to catch its enemies off guard in things like Icicle Spear. I used to absolutely hate this mon in Gen 8. It has grown on me a lot. I love this little lizard. Big lizard. Alright, by round 10, it was time to draft our second, more low-tier Terra Captain. I honestly didn't have a really specific criteria for this one, as I had pretty much every role on my team filled out. So I went for a more fun one, which is Ampharos. Amphi is not a great mon, but it's not useless by any means. First of all, it gives us a bulky electric type, further bolstering our defenses. And with its Terra types being grass and fairy, don't mind the slide, I just noticed it says ice, but it's grass. It can turn its only weakness to ground into a resist, and it can hit ground types back for super effective, and also hit dragon types super effectively with Fairy Terra. It can run either specs or agility sets on more offensive versions, or it can be a more defensive version and a paralysis spreader with moves such as Thunder Wave, Discharge, the ability Static. It also can boost its defense with Cotton Guard. And yeah, honestly, I really like this as our second Terra Captain. It's not going to come to as many games as Espeon for sure, but I definitely do expect it to put in some work. It's not going to be the MVP, but it's going to be a good mon and a fun mon to use. Do not underestimate this one. Our next mon is, I think for the first time, our returning mon. I think before this pick, I never drafted a single mon twice in a league, which, I mean, is not an impressive feat. I've only been in 3 leagues, but yeah, this is a returning mon from PDD. It was our MVP. I saw it still on the board, and I couldn't not pick Harama. Now, Harama is not going to be Terra this time, but it can be. Like, if we decide we don't like Espeon as a Terramon, we can just switch it back. We can just switch it to Harama, which we know is an amazing Terramon. It's so good. If you've seen our PDD performance, you know how great of a mon this thing is. Being able to completely wall threats like Chi-Yu, Iron Bundle with AV sets. Being able to run a variety of different sets from AV, as I said, to more offensive ones with Guts or Bandit sets, which I never brought, but it's an option. Belly Drum sets, probably not Guts Belly Drum because we saw what happened last time. And yeah, Harama, love this mon. I completely fallen in love with it. Love this guy, girl. We have finally gotten to our last pick. We had 1 point left, and among the 1-pointers, there were some good ones, but I had one specifically in my sights, which is a mon that I've greatly enjoyed using in Nuzlocke, funnily enough, and it's a mon I've greatly enjoyed in the past in the PU tier in the ladder. That mon is Persian, the regular Persian. Now, this mon is not great, but it is really fast with 115 speed, and it has access to a bunch of good options, to be honest. It has good coverage on the physical and special side. It learns Water Pulse for some reason. It has the ability to Technician to boost the power of its not super powerful moves. It has access to Technician Fake Out. It's very fast. It can do a bunch of stuff. It's not the best mon, but you can run either a Bandit set, even a normal gem set, or a Silk Scarf set with Fake Out. You can do things with this thing. It's not a great mon, but for 1 point, I think it has value. And funnily enough, I didn't think this would even be an option. We sniped J. Ricky out of Persian. How do you snipe someone out of Persian? I don't know, but we managed to do it, and we got ourselves a fun last 1-pointer. Very great, very awesome to see. Love the team. Look at them. Look at how cool they look all together. This is probably my favorite team I've ever drafted. Possibly because Gliscor is there, but also just the team in general, I think works really well. We do have a bit of a rock weakness, which is why I drafted a Harama. It's another reason. And I'm super excited to see what we can do with this. Tomorrow, I think you're going to see the first game, which is going to be a fun one, so don't miss out on that. We play our good friend Onesie. I'm super thankful to Jack and the PPL admins for inviting us to this season of PPL, to this subdivision. It's honestly so insane. I've literally just started playing in draft leagues, and look where we are. I'm so happy. Honestly, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I've gotten to know some very awesome people, and yeah, it's just been fun. Especially coming back after a bit of a hiatus. because mental health and moving and a bunch of stressful stuff, it's been really enjoyable to get back into Mons. And this team, I honestly couldn't have asked for a better team to get me back into Pokemon. Even though it's not been that long, but it feels longer when you're in that situation, trust me. Yeah, it's looking like such a fun team to pilot with so many different options, and yeah, I'm super excited to see how this season will work out. I think we got a fighting chance, but we'll have to see what the future holds in store for us. For now, I bid you farewell. Once again, thank you to everyone in the PPL team, in the PPL server, in our divisions, and be sure to check out all of them. Go subscribe to every single one of them. They're going to be in the description. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for the first game of the PPL Bolt and Flare season. See yas.